This is Secret Sauce, the show that depends on you for the content. Join in on the fun by calling when we ask you to, and even when we don't. Please call 415-663-8492. Now let's play.
Your hosts are Lauren Atkins and
Shelley Rugg.
And we are ready to infuse some creative secret sauce into your day that will inspire you to take risks in all areas of your life. Let's start with some creative inspiration.
I'm a little distracted, I have to be honest. I'm hearing a buzz. And I don't know the source of it. Maybe it's just my headphones are up too loud. Let's try that. Do you hear a buzz?
No, I hear some fuzz.
Some fuzz?
Fuzz, but not a buzz.
Okay, well, it's a fuzzy sound that shouldn't be there. But I guess we're just going to carry on.
All right, so from our...
we were going to talk about what we're going to do today on the show, right?
Oh, yes, that's right. That's what we were going to do. We're going to talk about what we were going to do on the show first.
Yeah. So to get you ready to call in... we want you to know that we're going to start off with some inspiring quotes.
Which we have.
To get those secret sauces
moving
in your creativity. Then we're going to play an improv game. And it's a popular game in improvisational circles called...
Yes, and.
Yes. And then at 9:15, we're going to have a conversation about how to nurture creativity.
Yep.
And so we hope that you can call in and share some of your ideas. At 9:30, we take callers for Share Your Art Form. And so we hope that you will call in and maybe read a poem, sing a song, or describe a project you're working on. And our last segment is... the Share the Challenge segment.
Yes.
So the challenge from the first show was to share your art form with a complete stranger.
Or bonus, someone you consider to be scary. So if you actually did that or something like that this week or recently even.
Or even in the past.
Yes. Just call in and share it with us so that you can inspire other people to do the same.
That's right. And then at the end of the show, we'll give you a new challenge to work on for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
All right.
So let's start with a quote.
Sounds good.
All right. So we do have a Facebook page, which is at Secret Sauce on KWMR.
Yeah, so if you want to find out what's coming up on the show and be able to participate in the show in a more quiet, less public way,
right.
You can always do that on Facebook.
Yeah, and there we do ask for some quotes from you, or share anything really with us.
Yeah, and we also, we hope the Saucy Sisters might show up today because they really want to answer all your burning questions, and we actually do have a question for them to answer this week, so we'll see if they can make it in.
Yeah. So
all right.
Let's start out with that quote M.K. Chandler shared with us.
Sounds good.
The quote is from Albert Einstein. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Shelley, you had one too, don't you?
Oh, yes. So this is in honor of Mary Oliver, who passed away January 17th, and it may be very familiar to a lot of people. And the quote is, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" And that's Mary Oliver. Yeah, and so I think that's a lot of why we're doing this show, is that we really hope to inspire other people to engage in creative activities, risky creative activities.
Yeah, risky being
taking a chance on failing.
Yes, exactly, and then just picking yourself up, learning something, brushing yourself off, and starting anew.
All right. Well, are we ready to play a game?
I think we are.
If you want to play our improv game, now would be the time to call. And actually, our line 2 is already taken, so you would please dial 415-663-8492. So we'll wait. We'll pause a moment. Well, actually, why don't you go ahead and...
Let's describe the game.
Yeah, tell us how to play this game.
So this is a really basic to what improv is all about game, and it's yes and the idea is that it's essentially telling a story, and between 2 or 3 people, could be 4, 5, 6, 7. But so one person starts the story with some an introductory line, information, and the idea is that you're practicing accepting whatever it is that someone has said, and then the next person will accept what the first person said and add to it. They say yes and they add on some more information to further the story along.
Awesome. And I'm going to come clean. I've never played this game before. I'm aware of it. My father was a theater professor, but I'm exposing myself here. I've never played this game before, so I'm taking a risk.
That's what it's all about.
All right. Well, why don't we find out who's waiting on the line? Caller, you are on the air. Tell us your name.
My name is David.
Hey, David. Thanks for calling.
Hi, David. Thanks for calling in.
So, you ready to play yes and?
Oh, sure. Always.
All right. Have you done this before, David?
That was a yes and I just gave you.
Excellent. It's a good metaphor for life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe, David, do you want to start the game?
Would I like to start? Sure.
Okay.
Here, would you like some more heroin?
Yes, and I'd like a glass of water with that, please.
Yes. And I have been waiting for my heroin for quite a while now. I wish it would show up.
Oh, you've been waiting for it. Well, I brought it. I've got a 1-pound bag right here.
Yes, and I hope that the police weren't following you.
Yes. And did you see that dog around the corner? I'm sure he was an attack dog.
I saw the dog. Do they use chihuahuas for attack dogs?
Yes, because they can nip at your heels, and that's a very tender place.
Yes, and I've heard they can even jump very high and bite you right at the top of your thigh.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I think we better do this deal quickly.
Yes. And do you accept PayPal?
I know I only have Venmo.
Well, I take both of those and Diners Club cards as well.
Yes. Well, then, how much did you say this was going to cost?
Yeah, things are kind of tight at my house.
We're having a special today. It's $10 for the whole pound. But for you, $9.50.
Wow. Yes, $9.50, but I think I only have $9.49 in my PayPal account.
I think this is an absolutely wonderful opportunity for us to go in on this together. I'm a little short of funds myself.
Well, can you think of any other ways you could pay?
Oh, well, yes. I have a painting I could barter for it.
You know, we always have ways to pay.
Well, art is a very good way to pay, and I happen to have a big blank spot on my wall.
Great. Well, then, done deal. Okay.
I wonder what kind of painting a heroin dealer would have on his wall.
And that, I would say, is a natural ending for the store. For the story.
Yes.
You know, the story has to have a beginning, an opening,
And
a middle, and then an end.
Very good.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Is there anything more you want to share about the Yes and game that you know about?
Well, sure. There's a yes.
There's a yes and the and.
Well, let's see. You don't always have to say yes and.
Right.
I noticed that you
Yes,
weren't doing
you
that.
weren't doing that.
So
That's
that
right.
was good example.
You're definitely
setting.
a more experienced yes-ander.
Well, we're all on the learning curve.
We are.
And so you can say yes and by saying, yes, and I'd like another pound for later.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can say yes and by saying, this is where I always inject it.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Right.
Ooh, yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
so you're saying yes,
Mm-hmm.
you're giving some more information,
Mm-hmm.
you're moving the story forward,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully it's entertaining as well.
Right.
Right.
And I think what I noticed by what you just demonstrated was sort of the gritty details, right? So bringing in some details, sensory details, can be really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The details are always good. The stories.
Yeah, well, these details actually make the story, you know, instead
Sure.
of saying, oh, yeah, here's my new car, you can say, I've always wanted an Alfa Romeo or a Bugatti or a Yugo.
Right. Or blue Bugatti, or whatever they're called. Bugatti.
A Bugatti.
Bugatti. A Bugatti.
Yeah. And one of the things that my improv teacher, whose name is Mick Logs, what he emphasizes over and over is that improv is not about being funny.
Mm-hmm.
The fun happens just in the process. Improv is more about the art of being present.
Right.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So when you're in a situation, like we didn't establish where we were, but we established that you were potential customers or had been customers in the past, and I was the heroin dealer, so we knew that much. And so there were details in there about how much and like that, but always try and get a little bit more information, and you listen to what the last person said and just respond to them, to what they said, just like in the conversation we're having right now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I like what you said about trying to get more information. That's helpful.
Right.
Yep.
And there's never
But
enough
it-
listening.
But I'm sorry, what?
I said there's never enough listening. I mean, people don't listen.
Yeah.
So it's a very
Well,
good practice in listening.
That's true, although there's a difference in the way people listen. I've observed different on the West Coast than on the East Coast.
Uh-huh. Huh.
That's food for thought.
It's interesting. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, that's a lot of the essence of improv, and it's like sometimes I come home from the class that I go to, which is 3 hours long, and that sometimes my cheeks hurt. And I'm serious, and people who are new to it, that's a common phenomenon. You know, you don't use those smile muscles, those laugh muscles, anywhere near as much as
Right.
we could, as we ought to.
That's right. And it
Yeah.
sure makes you feel good when you do, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Yep.
Right. And I love that practice of being in the moment, and that's definitely something that we can all use more of.
For sure.
You
Yep,
know.
it's the art of being present.
Yep.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Top the phrase.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for calling in and playing the game, David.
Yeah, thank you, David. It was great,
You are
great playing with you.
welcome.
All right, have a great day.
And
Yeah.
one more thing.
Yes.
Sure.
You just learned from that, and I gave you a really kind of hard offer right at the beginning. Would you like some more hair?
Yeah, that was a hard
Well,
one.
You know, with improv, you can snort all the heroin you want, or shoot it.
Right.
You know, it's all imagined, so you can You can get back at your mother, for example, who mistreated you when you were young, or you can do all manner of things.
Ah,
It's over. It's gone.
right,
That's
right.
The
It's
challenge in always saying yes. You can say yes to things that you would never say yes to
Right.
in real life.
That's
Right,
right.
that's the fun
that
of
is
the-
the fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So there we go. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, David.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, you're listening to Secret Sauce on KWMR 90.5 Point Radio Station, 89.9 in Bolinas, 92.3 in the San Geronimo Valley. And we are about to move into our conversation section.
Yes.
Of the show?
We are.
Am I-
And
And today's conversation is how to nurture creativity.
right.
And so if you'd like to get in on this conversation, now would be the time to call. The numbers are 415-663-8492 or 8317.
And I wanted to start with a quote.
Okay?
This is from Edward de Bono, who is a philosopher and thought a lot about creative thinking.
Let me just mention to I just put a caller in the system. Caller, please stay on the line. And when we say you're on the air, then you'll state your name. Okay, go ahead.
So he writes, creative thinking is not a mystical talent. It is a skill that can be practiced and nurtured. And I wanted to read that quote because so many people seem to think that creativity is something innate. You're born with it. Either you're creative or not.
Right.
And that's simply not the case.
Right. I agree. Let's find out who's called in. Caller, you are on the air.
This is Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Hello, Shelley and Laura.
Hi.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us in this
Yeah,
conversation.
Congratulations on this show that you're starting.
Thank you.
I like the name Secret Sauce
Yeah.
because I think being a creative is sort of like going into a secret place inside. And just doing, having a secret is like really exciting. Sparks the imagination, for me at least.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because I always had to be very good, so doing something secret was like, woo! It was kind of like going into hyperspace or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a thing you do, wild carrots, right?
Right.
Can you describe what happens at a wild carrot session?
So basically, I consider myself to be a permissionary, and I encourage people to go into their secret place, and to explore and discover and make mistakes and have fun and be really excited about their own curiosity and their own instincts. So, I'm not like technique oriented other than the technique of listening to oneself.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And which is, it's all totally improv.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like,
Improv with stuff.
right.
And you get a lot of so talk about some of your students who come in, what kind of backgrounds they have. I mean, are they artists to begin with? Do they think of themselves as artists? Is it their first go at it?
All of the above.
Yeah.
So some people come in because they are artists, and it's kind of, it's fun to work in a group in a sangha, an art sangha, and to have different ideas bandied about, and all of that, and different media and different tools, and to just loosen up and be larger than what we are, what we think we are. And for some people who have never done art, or it stopped because some art teacher said "ooh,"
Right.
and that really shrivels up the muse inside. It's really painful when that happens. I had that happen to me with music. The music teacher said, "Move your lips."
Yeah.
Oh, my.
And it's awful. It's
Yeah.
So, anyway, so I really try to make it be a very safe place and to encourage people from exactly where they're at and to build on that, to build on their inspiration, to build on their intuition, to build on their curiosity. A lot of us are really afraid of trying something that's outside of the box, like, well, what happens if I mix this with that? And they're scared, because, it might blow up. Well, I reassure them that nothing It hasn't blown up in my studio yet. Everything is water-based. So,
Nothing flammable, huh?
yeah, exactly. Except, our internal dynamic.
Right, yeah.
And if we are angry,
Yep.
wow, that is great fuel for creativity. Like, what are the colors? How does the energy move? Like, how
nice.
translate that into painting?
Mm-hmm.
So, everything is grist for the mill, basically.
Right.
Everything.
Right.
And so, sparking that kind of creativity means, sort of awakening our awareness, awakening our awakening.
Yeah, right.
So that you start to really notice things. And it's sort of fun to have, maybe I'll take a photograph every day, or maybe I'll make a drawing, or maybe I'll see something every day in print or, on the computer, something that intrigues me visually, and you build up kind of this whole journal or a whole backlog of things that are inspiring, that have caught your eye, and say, ooh, that's an interesting angle, and,
Yeah, that's been working for me lately. I started to tap in a little more deeply to my intuition by asking myself, what do I notice? What is catching my eye and drawing me in?
Yeah.
And saying, take my picture, or, yeah.
So also for me, I'm very interested in my inner world, kind of inner geology, and how things are shifting in there and changing or just being. And so, just even, how is my breath and the feeling of an inhale, and the feeling of it, the color of it, or and the exhale also, hopefully. But also feelings, you mentioned anger just a few minutes ago. But joy and happiness and grief and, all of it. It's like it has the capacity to be translated into art making, or music or theater, writing.
Yeah.
Right.
Any of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that realm can be a lot more mysterious for people because, even if we're not trying to make art, just being human beings, sometimes we don't want to look at that stuff inside of us.
Right.
I have a favorite quote from Clarissa Pinkola Estes. She was the one that wrote Women Who Run with Wolves.
Oh, right, yeah.
She says that creativity is like excrement. If you don't do it on a daily basis, it backs up and becomes toxic.
Thank you so much for following the FCC rules and not using another word for excrement.
Right, yes. So I have another quote from Georgia O'Keeffe.
Great.
And it does have a word in there that I probably can't use, so I'll just begin it. It's a three-letter word and begins with A.
Okay.
I am for an art that is political, erotical, mystical, that does something other than sit on its A in a museum.
Nice.
Good.
Nice.
Right.
I think that when it stirs us and churns us and excites us and,
right.
Yeah.
makes us weep or makes us laugh, all of it. It's like...
Yeah, that's what that's the secret sauce. That's what we're after.
Because after all, what is art for? Yeah.
What is that magic that happens?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Very good. And then, so, the idea of nurturing creativity and, coming back to these people who say, oh, I can't draw a straight line or I can't sing in tune, or whatever. Do you think maybe that's partly, the environment we grow up in can set examples for us, right?
Right.
Yes. I think as the adults are afraid of the blank piece of paper, and the teachers, they crank out zillions of Xerox things for the kids to start with, and that we learn to be afraid of this blank piece of paper.
That's right.
Yeah.
And, it's just sort of heartbreaking how our adult fear influences the next generation.
Right. And, so it seems like so much of, I think of sort of being an artist is getting back in touch with our child self, too.
Yeah.
Which had that freedom. And
you see the little
kids.
Nursery school paint.
Right.
Oh, my, it's like just amazing. They're just dipping in and spreading and clean,
Yeah, and they love it. And
they love it, and they can make a big mess. It doesn't matter.
No, and then there comes that point. I even remember...
Completely absorbed.
Yeah.
I got paint shamed in kindergarten.
You got paint.
I did.
What do you mean?
You painted outside the line.
You know, there was paper on the wall for us to make a painting, and I went at it, and I guess I used too much paint.
Oh, bad.
Oh.
And that really kind of shut me down for most of my years in elementary school until I got to 6th grade. I guess my 6th grade teacher noticed something and had me work on a special art project.
Wow, that's a special art teacher.
Yeah.
A special teacher.
Yeah, it was really, it kind of helped bring me back a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So for people who haven't had much experience with art and who are, genuinely scared of, like, what are they going to do? Like, I can't draw a straight line, for instance, I don't know any, it's kind of they come in and there's fear. Oftentimes we'll start with a big piece of paper on the wall and, even throw paint at it, just get your body moving with it.
Right,
and
Yeah.
So, and it's like, it's really liberating. And then, we'll go over and, so what color speaks to you? What color do you feel like your hands want to reach out for? And, to kind of bypass that brain that has, it's almost like a paralysis.
Definitely.
And, so how can we bypass it? Okay, let's just do something with our eyes closed, And let's make some marks with our non-dominant hand. Just get moving.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right. Just get out of that critical mind.
Yeah.
The analytical mind.
And getting past that fear of failure, and being willing to take that chance.
Right.
I think for me, I've really been working on building that failure muscle and turning the idea of failure into this is actually learning. What I'm going through is the learning process.
Well, that is what failure is.
And, like, let's paint a failed painting.
Right.
Let's paint what that sphere looks like.
Yeah.
What are the colors of it? How is it squeezing? Like what,
Yeah, I had a drawing teacher in college, and at the end of the semester, he said, "Okay, your assignment is to make the worst drawing ever."
Yeah.
And so everybody went about the task of making a really bad drawing. And when the lesson was, it's not possible.
It's not possible. Right. Probably. I was thinking that they probably turned out great.
Yeah.
But we do have
whatever.
that self-critical eye that can kick in.
Oh, yeah.
So strong.
We are our worst.
Really strong,
Yeah.
So let's paint the critic.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's got an answer for everything.
So,
all right.
There's something coming up at Grow. Did you want to talk about that?
We have a really exciting 2 weeks happening at Gallery Route 1 coming up. We haven't quite given it a name. We have lots of different names. Drawing thingy, the art in, make art now, create your own world, be creative, making now. A 17-day art studio, or this is your art studio. So in it, there's no exhibitions during that time, and we are going to keep the gallery open and invite the public to make art with us. And using the gallery, we'll have art materials there. We can have art workshops, and I believe Shelley's going to offer a workshop.
Oh,
that's right.
Illustrations. Judy O'Shea is going to be doing something on making molds for clear objects, collaborative projects, and we can display the work. Participation will be free, but of course you can always make a donation.
Sure.
So it's available for artists who want to lead, but if you don't want to lead, you can just come in and
play.
You can be an artist in residence for the whole time, and our gallery people will come in and see what you're doing, and you can talk about it. And we'll have some kind of culmination at the end. There'll be a party with food and drink, and maybe something will be auctioned off or bought. Who knows?
Right.
Well,
what are the dates?
Open.
Oh, and the dates? Do we have dates for this?
Oh, good idea.
Yes.
It's going to be April 19th through May 5th.
Great.
And I'm thinking that the hours will be regular gallery hours, which is 11 to 5.
Sounds wonderful.
I just found out my daughter and granddaughter are coming to visit during that time because it's spring break. So this could be a really, really great time to.
Yes.
Yep.
And I just wanted to comment that, for visual artists, that engagement with the viewing public is really rare. Being able to have a conversation with people about your work, it just doesn't, that opportunity doesn't happen that often. Or for the gallery visitor to be able to witness the art being made, or to actually put their hands on the materials themselves. That's
right.
It's all really
it sounds like a really very fruitful.
Well, and it's a great way to
thing.
involve community in a larger sense than just coming in to see an art exhibit and be inspired by it. Right. I mean, this is a way to come in and really experience the art process.
Yeah, because also I think that often, people go in and they're all inspired and think, oh, I'm going to go home and do some art, and they don't.
Right, so here you can do it right there.
But there's an opportunity right there in front of them that they actually could do something.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in, Tony. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Be with you all, and congratulations on your secret sauce.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for sharing it with us.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, let's do the station break. This is KWMR Community Radio for West Marin, 90.5 in Point Reyes Station, 89.9 in Bolinas, 92.3 in the San Geronimo Valley, and streaming live on kwmr.org. So this is the part of the show where you can call in and share your art form. So now's the time to call in. Actually, it looks like we have somebody at the door right now. Whoops. And Laura's all tangled in her headphones. You can call in and share your art form. And it could be reading a poem, telling a story, singing a song, or even describing a project that you're working on. And, we have an in-studio guest. Hello, we're going to get our friend Brian here to get hooked up with his headphones and his microphone, and we'll be talking to Brian. In the meantime, I'm going to recognize Mary Oliver once again, and I'm going to read a poem by Mary Oliver. This poem is called The Journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do, and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice. Though the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles. "Mend my life," each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations. Though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough. And a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. Ooh, I got goosebumps on that one.
Tingles on that.
I know.
Really.
So let me turn up your mic. Let's see, you're on number 3.
No.
Yes. Okay.
Well, that flows very nicely into the piece I'm going to share with you today.
All right. So we're welcoming Brian Curvin into the studio, the Secret Sauce Show.
Hi, Brian.
Thanks for stopping by.
It's an honor to be on one of your early shows.
All right. Thanks.
And this is a poem in honor of a posthumous poet I went to his house in northern Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a pilgrimage poem in memory of Atahualpa Yupanqui, called Remembering His Steps. And I took some of the lines that are on many red sandstone slabs out in the field across the river. Took a verse of one of his poems as an epigraph. He's also a singer.
Wow, okay.
The road is uneven. Today I blaze rough trails. Step on the thorn that cuts, but below my footprint remains. It's from Atahualpa Yupanqui's song, From So Many Comings and Goings. Remembering his steps, it's fitting I arrive to Atahualpa Yupanqui's village via the path of most resistance. I'm not talking about a continent like before by motorbike, nor by horse like him, but by a collection of buses along the Sierra of Cordoba. How else to arrive at his house than by walking the stirrup of Cerro Colorado through the crack of dawn? Halfway there, at the summit, the sky breaks an egg on the horizon as the cries of peregrine falcons pierce my ears, penetrate my core, like their talons stab the dove's heart. Pain and joy pave my way, the way that wounds me, from the bee's sting on my foot to the thorns and scrub brush that scrape my skin. With shaky feet at the sandstone precipice, I ask the spirit of Donata, as if he were a stone shrine, to bless me to his home. I wrote this in Spanish first, so
Oh.
Would you like to read it in Spanish?
I think it merits
Please.
the original here. Recordando sus pasos, en memoria de Atahualpa Yupanqui. El epigrafio es de una canción dir y tanto venir. Desparejo es el camino, hoy ando senderos ásperos. Piso la espina que hiere, pero mi huella está abajo. Recordando sus pasos. Me conviene llegar al pueblo de Atahualpa Yupanqui por el camino de mayor resistencia. No hablo de un continente como antes en moto, ni a caballo como él, sino por una colección de colectivos por las sierras de Córdoba. ¿Por cuál otra manera llegar a su casa que por el estribo de Cerro Colorado al despuntar al alba? A medio camino en la cumbre, el cielo rompe un huevo en el horizonte, como los gritos de halcones peregrinos perforan mis oídos, penetran mi ser, como sus talones pinchan el corazón de la paloma. El dolor y la alegría pavimentan mi camino, el camino que me hiere, desde la picadura de abeja en mi pie a los espinillos y matorral que me raspan la piel. Como los pies temblorosos en el tajo de piedra arenisca, le pido al espíritu de Donata, si fuera una apacheta, que me bendiga hasta su casa. So,
That was beautiful.
That was very beautiful. I don't, I don't speak Spanish, but the Spanish just sounds so beautiful. Really.
yeah, I have to say it's superior in this.
And it must be an interesting process
Version.
to write the poem first in Spanish and then to translate your own poem into English.
It is very much so. It's well, being in Argentina was naturally why I would write it in Spanish first.
Mm-hmm.
But then, the translation process was very lengthy, and both languages, affected each other and
Sure.
tug and tore and tweaked from each side, depending on each line or verse.
Mm-hmm.
I am presenting an evening in San Rafael on the 31st, the poetry and music of Atahualpa Yupanqui in both the form of a documentary film, a short one, and then...
Is this a film that you made?
I haven't made the film, no.
Okay.
It's a film that we're going to screen
Great.
after a poetry presentation in both English and Spanish. And that's his birthday, the 31st of January.
Nice.
And the film is called El Río que no cesa de cantar, the river that doesn't stop singing. So he is the river that doesn't stop singing. And I know any of you who go to authors' houses and experience that pilgrimage know that there's an effect, there's a feeling that you get from the author themselves or their spirit or their work or what have you. But he definitely inspired me on that day in arriving at his house. So that is at the Key Tea House and Kava Lounge inside Open Secret Books on January 31st,
And that's
Thursday.
San Rafael.
San Rafael.
Yes, it's 921 C Street in San Rafael, California. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having me this morning,
You're
Shelley.
welcome. Yeah. Glad you could come by. Your drive-by.
Okay, have a great show, and I look forward to hearing the other artists who chime in.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. It's so exciting to have an in-person guest
It was
at the Secret
exciting.
Sauce
Our
Show.
very first in-person guest.
I know.
Yes.
Oh, but
Oh, is there someone at the door? Two people?
wait. I think there's someone on the phone.
Oh, someone on the phone.
Let's see who it is. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Shelley. It's MK.
Hi, MK. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm still in bed.
You're still in bed.
Hi, okay.
Being a bum. I missed the first part of the show because I was listening to some other that night, Midnight in Luxembourg show. I don't know how I got mixed up. But one thing about encouraging artists, I think, in the schools is the business of grading.
Oh,
or as far as discouraging artists.
Yeah.
right.
Did you talk about that already?
Well, not deeply, but I think it was touched upon. Tony Littlejohn had called in, and she talked about how devastating it can be, how crushing it can be to an artist when...
Adolescent artists.
What's that?
Especially an adolescent.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the most sensitive time. And I think that some of us who are really hardcore artists, it doesn't matter how hard you try to squash us, we're going to bounce back and be there. But for the less secure young artists, I think it's a time of enormous turnoff.
Right.
And it's really wrong. I mean, they should, instead of grading, they should do like participation or lack of participation or some little thing that can appear on a piece of paper to prove that you were actually in the class or whatever it was. So anyway,
Yeah.
Right.
I had
as an art teacher myself,
Uh-huh.
know that children are not nice a lot of the time. They're stinkers, and they want to be the best, and so they will discourage other kids by saying that theirs is better. And all you have to do is use that kind of language. And I always said it's not necessarily better, but it's different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's an important distinction.
that's my point. I don't have a poem to read right now.
Right. Well, and actually, I wish there was more art in the schools because, unfortunately, I think because of funding, there's less and less of it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
There are some. My granddaughter goes to one of those special middle schools that you have to test into, and their art program is wonderful. I'm really impressed, and their music programs are wonderful. And so it is happening in little pockets here and there.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the emphasis on math and science and athletics is a big problem.
Well, it misses the mark of the whole human, It
Right,
really
yeah,
leaves
right.
out a whole lot of what's important in life.
And I know, as a person who's not always been supported, especially early in my life, that that, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And the only place my parents would let me decorate was the cellar walls, and it was all cement and it was all rough. And I drew these crazy people. I must have been 9 or 10. But even when I had a broken leg, I was down there with paint and ink, and I don't know what the poor people did that bought that house, and it was pretty scary. It's really surprising that my parents let me do it. It's like, oh my God!
Out of sight, I guess. Out of sight, out of mind. If it was down in the cellar.
My dad must have liked it because his workshop was down there, sitting down there, putting heath kits together and stuff. Anyway, it's not important.
That's pretty cool that they let you do that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How cool it was. Just get her out of my sight.
Aw.
But they did give you a space.
All right.
Right.
Okay, well, have a great day, and I'm glad you have the show, and I'll try to tune in on time next time.
No problem. Thanks, McKay.
Thanks
Okay,
for showing up.
Bye-bye. Awesome. Well, you are listening to Secret Sauce on KWMR, 90.5 Point Reyes Station, 89.9 Bolinas, 92.3 San Geronimo Valley, and streaming live online at kwmr.org. If you would like to call in to our show today for any reason, the numbers are 415-663-8492 or 8317.
So this is the time when we talk about the challenge. Our weekly challenge. Yes?
Oh, okay.
Is that right?
It is, but I guess I thought I saw the Saucy Sisters nearby, and I wasn't sure if they were going to come in or not.
Oh.
What do you think?
Well, they do seem eager.
Okay, well, let's see if there's any callers out there who did the challenge. So the last show, our challenge for our listeners was
to share your art form with a complete stranger, or bonus, someone you consider to be scary.
Not naming any names. No. So if you participated in our challenge from the last show and you'd like to share your experience, please call in 415-663-8492 or 8317. And we'd love to hear how that went for you. And why don't we go ahead and give next week's challenge, and then we can come back to the share.
All right. Well, next week's challenge, I think, is maybe a little less threatening to people. It's basically to try something new, a new art form that you haven't ever experienced before.
Right.
Just check something out and let us know in 2 weeks' time how it goes for you.
That's right.
Whether you find a new passion or fun. Just find some fun out there.
That's right. break through the fear and have a little fun and play. Bill Murray says nothing matters.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter if you succeed or if you fail.
Right.
It's all about being in the present moment.
Being in the moment, trying something
and
new.
having some fun with this life.
Having some fun.
Playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't spend enough time playing as adults.
That's right. I don't know. I think we probably play more than some people, but
could be.
All right. Well, I think I'll share. I didn't do this challenge because I kind of challenged myself this way in the past, and so I'll tell a story about how I always wanted to sing.
Mm-hmm. You have a beautiful voice too.
Oh, thank you. I really wanted to see myself, fronting a band, mm-hmm. and that was a little dream I was keeping in my secret place, right? Mm-hmm. And I had stage fright. I just couldn't figure out how it would be possible because of the stage fright that I had. Well, I went to visit my grandmother. And she was in her 90s at this point, and we were celebrating her birthday at a restaurant. And at the end of dinner, they were going to bring a cake out for her birthday so that we could all sing happy birthday. Mm. So I leaned over to my grandmother and I said, "Grandmother, we're going to sing happy birthday to you." Well, she's a little hard of hearing. So all she heard was, "Grandmother, sing." And she stood up in the middle of the restaurant and began belting out a song.
Wow.
The song was, I'm going to live, live, live until I die.
There, you see, you got to be 90, and then you can take up something like
You
that.
know? Yeah. And so I looked at her, you know, and I also worked with people with disabilities at the time who weren't afraid to perform. And I looked back at myself and I said, okay, what's wrong with you? What's your problem? You've got everything going for you. You know, your age, your good looks, your talent. Come on. So what I did was I took myself to karaoke twice a week.
Oh, so you didn't stand up right then with her and belt out a song? No. Still too
but
shy.
I was inspired.
Yeah.
I was
Good.
inspired to get over it.
Yeah, you used that moment.
And to give it a shot. And so I took myself to karaoke, and my first time, I hid myself literally with my back to everyone in a corner. But I still sang into the mic.
All
that was my
right.
first time.
Well, and she's never stopped since.
And so the good news is at the other end, I actually did end up fronting a band, a 9-piece band.
Yeah.
And so that was really exciting to have that dream come true.
Right. Well, so that's what it takes sometimes. It takes that moment of noticing, well, maybe this is a little silly that I'm stopped, or yeah, it's a little scary, but
I really want it.
I really want it, and am I going to wait till I'm 90? So what do I have to lose?
Right.
You know, what do we all have to lose?
I think people are afraid of looking stupid.
Oh, yeah, being embarrassed, humiliated. But,
Yeah.
But most people, the people out there watching you, I think most of them are thinking, wow, she's brave. I wish I could do that. I don't think because no one judges you as hard as we judge ourselves.
Right.
So-
Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to mention, we've got our 10 by 10 show coming up.
Oh, yeah, and this is a great
Yeah.
opportunity to get up there
And take a risk.
and take a risk.
Yeah, that's
So-
what the show is all about. We do it 4 times a year: January, April, July, and October. And so the next show is coming up January 27th. It's a Sunday night. It starts at 7 p.m. Tickets are $10 at the door. But if you don't have money, come anyway, because more audience is better for the performers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's really fun, you know, people getting up there. They're usually a great show. And actually, 10 by 10 was the place where I stepped out and took a risk.
Oh, yeah. So
my first 10 by 10.
tell us about that.
I had been taking clowning classes and loving it and sort of performing in the context of that class, which was a nice structure and safe. Felt pretty safe. And then 10 by 10 came along, and I thought, well, I'll sign up for 10 by 10. But of course, there's one thing to sign up, and then it's another thing to the day arrives or the week before, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have to think something up. Do I really want to do this? Maybe I'll say no. And then I said, no, you can't say no. I put myself forward, and so I created a piece and got up there, and it was great fun.
Nice.
Great fun, and I keep on doing it.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really, the idea behind 10 by 10 is to provide a place for people to feel safe. And that's kind of one thing that Tony talked about in Wild Carrots, that creating this safe environment for failure.
Absolutely.
Because we want people, to come on the stage. Sure, we want loads of talent on the stage, but we also want people to be able to experience growth on that stage.
Just as, someone who wants to start doing something new.
Right.
And
I started playing ukulele in public on that stage, and I think I've improved over the years.
Yeah.
It took a lot of practice, and I still have a ways to go. But yeah, it was a great opportunity to get up there and say, I want to try this.
Yep.
I want to see how that feels, And what I like about the 10 by 10 structure compared to like an open mic that you might find at a tea house, a coffee shop, or a bar, is that we have a dedicated audience for 10 by 10.
Right.
There's nobody looking in their computers. There's nobody
That's
clanking coffee
That's
cups or beer mugs.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
People are just there to see the
They're
show.
there to see the show, and of course it's usually lots of friends of performers, and so it's a very supportive place.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's great.
And at the beginning of the show, we encourage the audience to be that supportive audience for the performers and to also pay attention to what they're seeing so that the performers can get feedback.
That's right. And then in the middle of the show, we usually have a 1-minute opportunity.
Right. For anybody who can spontaneously get up on stage, they can do anything they want for 1 minute.
Yeah. So if you're toying with the idea of performing, but not ready for your 10 minutes of fame,
you could try the 1 minute.
You can try the 1 minute.
Yeah. And also, 10 minutes is the limit. So people can do shorter performances with their 10-minute slot. But most people tend to take up the whole 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And we always like it. We're glad.
Right. Yes, we are.
Yeah, we don't like to cut them off.
Right.
Well, it looks like we are pretty much at the end of our show here. And I'm going to take a quick look at the calendar. I forgot to write it down when our next show's going to be. Let's take a look. Calendar. Okay, so the next show should be on February 2nd, 9 a.m. right here on KWMR.
All right.
And so...
did you have a few... there were a few announcements we were going to make
that's right.
There's activities that are coming up that we think would be great to share with, with people of local opportunities.
So I pulled out of the Point Reyes Light art that you can do around town. And this isn't exactly art, but it all depends. Everything's art, right? Our lives. But today there is going to be the 3rd annual Women's March.
Oh.
And there's the Point Reyes branch is going to be happening in front of Wells Fargo from noon to 1 p.m.
We'll be marching in place.
On Sundays, just about every week, they're at the Dance Palace. You can dance freestyle at the Dance Church from 10:30 to noon. On Monday, there's a drawing group. It's a brand new group. They get together and they bring their own materials and take turns modeling for each other. And every Wednesday, there is a women's collaborative dance at the Dance Palace Church space from 5:30 to 7.
Which I call our play group.
On Thursdays, there is a knitting group that meets in the San Geronimo Community Center. And, I forgot, on Sunday, there is also the improvisational contact jam happening at the Dance Palace, 11 to 1:30. And we are going to sign off until 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
February 2nd, Groundhog Day.
So get out there and try something new.
That's right. And next is going to be day 6 on KWMR.
It's a circus game with you and me. I'm up on a tightrope. One side's hate and one is hope. But the top hat on my head is all you see. And the wild seems to be the only place for me. I'm deep, well, then I'm falling. Like a left you round. You look into my path. Well, maybe you're just too blind to see. I'm up in the spotlight. Oh, does it feel right?